Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tacha Abrus. If you're coming across my video for the first time, kindly like and subscribe to the family. We have new tutorials coming out every week. If you're an old subscriber, thank you so much for your love on all my videos. Thank you for always being here. So in this tutorial, I'll be learning how to make this beautiful rushed shoulder gather gown. So for this gown, I didn't have much fabric, so I didn't make my gather so full. But if you want yours to be fuller, you can use about 4 yards of fabric. I'm using Ankara print for this style. So first of all, I'll proceed to marking out all my horizontal measurements. I'll be marking from my shoulder to my underbust to my half length, and then I'll go down by 3 inches after my half length. If you want to have a basque effect, a very deep V basque effect, you can go down by 4 inches, but I didn't want mine to be so sharp. I just wanted my style line to be a bit rounded. So now this is my underbust, my half length, and the blouse length, or the blouse length is like the upper waistline. I'm using my upper waistline for the length of this gown, so it's just going to be like 4 inches after your half length. So now I'm going to be marking out my neckline. I'm going to be using 3 inches by 3 inches for my neckline. I'm just tracing it out because it's not a permanent neckline. Then I'll mark out my shoulder, but I'm not going to mark it all the way. Then from my shoulder, I'm extending it by 10 inches. Like I said, my fabric isn't that much, but if you have enough fabric, you can extend it up to like 15 inches because that is where you're going to be drawing together as your gathers. So now I'm going to be opening up the armhole line. Now I'll first of all connect my shoulder slope, then I'll be opening up the armhole line by 10 inches. Then from there, I'll be marking my under bust measurements, and then I'll be adding extra 6 inches. You can add up to 10 inches. Like I said, my fabric isn't that much. Then from there, I'll go in by 1 inch to be able to connect the under bust to my opening of the armhole. So I'll just connect it with a curve. Then now I'm going to, on my half length, I'll mark 1/4 of my half length measurement. Then on my blouse length, which is from the half length going down by 3 inches, I'll be marking the 1/4 of my upper waist measurement or the hip measurements. Then I'm going up by 2 inches to just give it a slope. Then I'll connect it back. If you want yours to be a sharp V, you can make it very sharp, but I didn't want mine to be sharp. So now I'll just connect it together. Then after that, I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch for my sewing allowance, and then I'll reconnect. So after reconnecting, I'm going to determine the neckline now. I'm using 3.5 inch instead of 3 inch for my neckline. So I just went in by half an inch. Then I'm using the length of my underbust for the opening of my neckline. If you want yours to be more open or more closed, that just depends on you. So now I'm going to also mark my back neckline on the same pattern paper. So my back neckline is not going to be as deep as the front neckline. So I'm just using 9 inches for my back neckline. Now I'm going to cut it out. First of all, this part is going to be on its own. Then I'm going to cut these other parts separately as well, because this is the part we are going to gather. So now I would be duplicating this paper on another paper because I want to separate the back from the front. So I'll be duplicating 2 of the papers each, this paper and the other one. So now this is the one I'll be using for the back. You know, the back is now going to have a zip, so I'll be marking exactly what I have here, but the neckline is what is going to be different. So now this is what is going to serve for my back. So I've already attached an extra paper for where I'll be marking my zip line. So I'll just cut on what is there exactly, but first of all, I'll be marking out my zipper allowance. Now first of all, mark my zipper allowance. My zipper allowance is going to stop where my neckline stops, so I'm marking 1 inch as my zipper allowance. Then I'll connect it to the neckline. So now this is the neckline I'm using. I'm just going to connect it this way. Then I'll be going in to remove any zipper bulge. But first of all, I'll cut it out. I'll separate the back from the front. Now I'm cutting out the back neckline from the initial pattern, because the front neckline is actually deeper than the back, so it doesn't affect it. I will still cut out the front neckline. So this, we already have our front separate and our back separate. Now for the back, I'll also duplicate this side for it. The only difference between this part and that we cut out initially is that the back is going to be having a zipper. So now I'm adding my zipper allowance, and then I'm marking my waistline. I went in by 1/2 inch to eliminate any zipper bulge. I would also be going in, I'll also mark the waistline, then I'll close my like a dart to eliminate any zipper bulge as well. So I'm going to take a dart on both sides. This helps to eliminate any zipper bulge. After going in by 1/2 inch from the middle part, you also go in by 1/2 inch on both sides for this. So I'll just tape it in. It doesn't affect the length. As you can see, I didn't go slash it all the way. Then I'll just tape it in. So this will help to eliminate any zipper bulge that you are supposed to have. So now this is my back piece. Now I have the back, the middle back. I'm just going to label it up, down, and my center back. So that is my front and that is my back. Now this is the fabric I'll be using. It's an Ankara print fabric. So now for the front, I'll be coming out by 2 inches because it's going to overlap. The center front is going to overlap. For the up, before cutting it out on the shoulder line, I'm going to come out by 1 inch because that 1 inch is what I'm going to be using for the root, where I will put my drawstring. Where I'll be putting the rope here I will use for my drawstring. So I'll just mark it out. Then I will connect from that 2 inches straight to the neckline. So that's what I will do. I'll just connect straight to the neckline. Make sure that you don't add much allowance to the neckline. That 2 inches is not supposed to be added to the neckline as well. It's just for the overlap at the under bust. So I'm just going to add 1/2 inch all the way as well. So this is my front piece I'm cutting out. You are going to do the same thing for the shoulder of the back as well, but for the back you are not adding any 2 inch for any part. There's no overlap at the back. You know, we have a zipper at the back, so I'm just going to cut it out. So I'm adding 1/2 inch to the part of the sleeve because I'm going to fold it in as well. So now I'm going to cut out the back. You can see this part is already our zipper, so there's no overlap at the back. It's just a zipper. So I'll cut it as well. Remember, at the shoulder line we're also adding the same 1 inch that we added at the front for our drawstring. So I'm adding my 1 inch for my shoulder. Sorry it didn't show, but it's the same 1 inch that I added at the front that I'm adding at the back shoulder, which will serve as our drawstring. So now after that, I'm going to be cutting the center back and the front as well. So the center back is going to be on 2 pieces, but the front is going to be on a single piece. So I just wanted mine to be the back to show a bit, so I later just slashed out of it. But if you want yours to be very sharp initially, remember I told you just cut it to be sharp. I wanted mine to have like a rounded effect. So for the back, I'm going to cut it out as well. It's going to be on 2 separate pieces, not going to be on 1 piece like the front. Remember, there's a zipper at the middle, so it's going to be on 2 separate pieces at the back. Then I'll also cut a lining for this middle part. So the dress is just going to be having a lining only at this middle part because we're going to be turning the lining with. By the time I get there, you understand what I mean. So now for the front, the overlap, the front and the back, I'm going to be using a facing. I'm not using a full lining, so I'll be using a facing. I'll just cut a long strip of fabric and I'll use it as a facing for the both side of the front and also for the back as well. So this is how I'm going to place it. I'll go and sew it like this, and then I'll turn it in, and then I'll use my hemming gum to keep it in place. So I'll just go and do that. I'll do the same thing for the back. So I've gone ahead to do that. I've already faced it with my fabric. I've done the facing for the back and also for the front. So this is the back, and that part is the zipper allowance where the zipper pass. So for the front, I'm just, remember we added 2 inch for an overlap, so I'm just going to be overlapping that 2 inch and then I will pin it. So I'll measure the 2 inch first of all, then I'll pin it. because at this point I'll go and gather everything that we have here. So I'll pin it down, then I'll go and gather use my loose stitch to gather it. You make sure that you gather it and everything should be able to enter this underbust part of the dress. So like I said, my fabric isn't much, so it's not going to be as full as it should be. So now just mark the middle of this one and mark the middle of this underbust part, and then go and join it. You will do the same thing for the back as well, exactly what you did for the front, but now the back is going to be on 2-piece because there's a zip at the middle. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the back. So after doing the same thing, I'll make sure that I'll come back and use my lining to turn it. So I added interface to my lining and my fabric for that middle part. So I've gone ahead to join it. So now this is what we have. All I'll have to do now is to place my lining like this. Make sure that you sandwich your seam on the lining and the fabric, and then do the same thing for the back as well. The seam allowance is going to be in between the fabric and the lining to cover everything and keep it in place. So now I've gone ahead to do that. Now this is what we have. The seam allowances are closed. Now I've gone ahead to fold the hand of the dress. This part I did the same thing for the back as well, for the all round the arms and the back as well. So all I have to do now is to join the shoulders of my dress. So I'll go and join on that 1 inch that we added, remember. So I'm now going to join it on 1 inch, then I will iron it open because that's where our drawstring is going to pass through. So now for the drawstring, I'm going to be doing a rope, like a tiny rope. Those rope that the rope, you are going to have like 4 pieces of rope because each of the drawstring is going to have one, each of the openings is going to have 1 rope. So now this is how I did I just inserted my rope inside and then I pinned it because I'll be sewing it at that edge. So I inserted my rope inside, I folded it in a way that it will be neat, then I pinned it so that by the time you get to the sewing machine, you just have to sew all through and there will be no rough edges at all. So I first of all pinned it. I put my rope and make sure that I'm feeling that the rope is at the edge of it. It doesn't get outside. So you don't go and sew your rope as you are trying to sew the allowance. So I just pinned it all through. I did the same thing for all parts of it. And now I've gone ahead to attach my drawstrings now. So now this is the result of it. This is the effect that it's going to give. If yours was fuller, it's going to have more ruch. Now this is how the inside was. It was neat. So now all I'm going to do now is my allowance. I'm just going to sew on the allowance that I added. So you can confirm your measurement first of all before sewing. So I'm just going to go to the sewing machine now and sew on my allowance. Now I've done that. Now I'll just measure what I have on my waist. I'll measure my waist. I'll just use my waist measurement now to cut a straight strip of fabric. Now this is mine. You can times your waist by 3 or 4 depending on how full you want it to be. Like I said, my fabric wasn't much, so on the middle of it I'm just going to come down by 2 inches because the front is actually higher. So I'm just going to come down by 2 inches and mark the middle, and then I'll go to my sewing machine and use a loose stitch to draw the gathers. Now I've gone ahead to do that. I'll just make sure that I sew it all around the gown. So I'll just go to my sewing machine now and sew the gathers on my gown. I'll sew and weave, and yeah, this is almost the concluding part of the gown. So now I'll just go back and sew because the back is opened, so I'll just go and sew I will leave my zipper allowance down, then I'll sew the remaining part. Then I'll also fix my zip as well, just fix my zip straight. So now I've gone ahead to do that. I've fixed my zip. Now this is the final outcome of the gown. Yeah, so this is the final outcome of the gown. So it's a simple dress, easy to make and beautiful. You can use any print of your choice. So guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for all your love on all my videos. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thank you so much for all you do. I'll see you on my next one. Bye bye.